Hey, family. This is another episode of the Blemish Beauty Podcast, and I am your host, Shira Renee. If this is your first time listening in, I want to thank you for tuning in, and I pray that you hear something worth holding on to. For those of you who are joining me again, welcome back. The goal of this podcast is to erase the norm and embrace the truth. We all hide behind some kind of mask. So in this space, I want you to feel free to own your scars and see the beauty within. I am a Christian influencer, a mom, an entrepreneur, a content creator, and Jesus Christ is my source in all things. And I believe that with Him, anything is possible. So with that being said, let's jump into today's episode. This journey called life is filled with so many lessons. If you're paying attention, you will learn and grow, and you will love and lose. Eventually, you will get to a moment in life where you decide to no longer compromise your peace or happiness for no one. And in that moment, you decide to rise up. Most of us have dealt with the spirit of people pleasing, and some deal with rejection and abandonment issues. And for that, we continue to hold on to things that no longer serve us any purpose. But what if I told you the biggest thing that you had to let go of, that thing that was hindering your growth, was you? We have all heard the famous line, let them. Some people have not only quoted it, but they actually got the quote tattooed on their skin. This quote is supposed to serve as a reminder to let go of anything or anyone that no longer serves you a purpose. However, this quote should also serve as an accountability reminder that the reason these folks are in here playing with you and playing in your face is because you let them. Everyone wants to blame the enemy when something bad happens, but to be honest, all the enemy has is the power to present you with an opportunity. And it's up to you to take the bait and fall for it. This also applies to people who sit up and say, this man did this or this woman did that. But if you're honest with yourself, they are only doing what you allowed them to do in the first place. If one seed can produce a tree, what do you think settling or not speaking up for yourself can do? Before you begin a relationship, whether it's romantic or platonic, you should always start with conversation. Most of us do, but we get caught up with the tangible stuff and we neglect to talk about non negotiables and boundaries and expectations. So we get violated and have a moment where we blame the other person instead of blaming ourselves. For example, if your spouse is very flirty and speaks to other people while you're together, and this trait makes you very uncomfortable, but you neglect to tell your spouse, you can't get mad when they turn around and later on in the relationship they cheat on you because you let them disrespect you in the small part of the relationship. So that only created an open door for them to go further. The other side to that is you have a spouse that chooses to disrespect you. And when you have that type of spouse, you have the right to let them go about their business and go play with someone else. Go gather your things and move on. So we have dual responsibility with this. We have to take accountability for what we let people do to us, and also love ourselves enough to let them go and find whatever it is that they're looking for. Trust me when I tell you, when they find out that the grass they thought was so much greener was not really grass at all and it was really astroturf, they'll be back. But by then, it'll be too late. And when they do that, when they do come back, let them get a front row seat to watch you being happy the way you were supposed to be, the way that you wanted them to be with you, but you'll do that with someone else. You can hinder your growth by the things that you say, the thoughts that you think, and even the people you hang around. Proverbs 27:17 reads, "As iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend." We all know that iron is a strong, hard, magnetic silver gray metal. That's what it's defined as. But the key in this definition for iron is that iron in the scripture is used as a material for construction and manufacturing. So it's made to build things, right? I told you in an earlier episode that you have to get around eagles. No longer will we subject ourselves with birds. You cannot be effective as you're designed to be if you do not sharpen yourself accordingly. When you sharpen yourself, you are making the decision to become better, smarter, more skillful, etc. This is something we can do by renewing our minds every day, reading the Bible, and guarding what we watch and what we listen to. Quiet is kept. What's planted on the inside of you will grow out, and eventually, what you speak will be accumulated to what you think. So if you want to speak positive, you have to plant positive inside of you. You cannot produce apples from planting a lemon seed. So why do you think you can walk around treating others horribly and expect to have a good life? You have the power in how you decide to show up to your future. But the question is, will you continue to sit around and let them, or will you take a stand and rise up? I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Blemish Beauty Podcast, and I need you to remember, you are graced and gifted for a time such as this. You are not here by accident. You have purpose in this world, and you have been created to do great and amazing things. Make sure you connect with me on Instagram and on Facebook at the Blemished Beauty Podcast, or follow me on TikTok at Cheryl Renee 510. Until next time, spread love, show grace, and shine bright.